large framed glasses, bared the book with a mind like molasses. Giants and goblins from his fingertips spurt, trekking through stars with an old geek spurt. Up in the attic by the glowing screen, cultures clash like you've never seen. Post-apocalyptic visions clash, tales of terror in a lightning flash. Up in the attic by the glowing screen, cultures clash like you've never seen. Post-apocalyptic visions clash, tales of terror in a lightning flash. That old Yorkshire geek with stories to unfold. Keep your eyes wide open and your soul won't grow cold. In the realm of the strange and the fantastical, lost in the dark but it's a light so magical. Whispers of Lovecraft in the dead of night, spaceships, sorcery, shadow fright, dungeons deep and castles grand, tales of might from this England land. That old Yorkshire geek with stories to unfold. Keep your eyes wide open and your soul won't grow cold. In the realm of the strange and the fantastical, lost in the dark but it's a light so magical. Magical. Cthulhu breathes while dragons flame, hearts of heroes in the Hall of Fame. Flee or fight the monsters we dread, by the winds of wonder in his stories are spread. But it's a light so magical, magical. Cthulhu breathes while dragons flame, hearts of heroes in the Hall of Fame. Flee or fight the monsters we dread, the winds of wonder in the stories are spread.
Rumble. Yes, we are. We're live on Rumble as well. Cool. Right. What else? Explore the description for links for stuff like merch and me books. There they are. Mercury Rapids, light-hearted sci-fi action adventure about UFOs and stuff. And Silent Predator, a short horror novella about genetically engineered big cats eating people in the North Yorkshire village. It's been that long since I've wrote it. I've actually forgotten what the reason is for these genetically engineered big cats. There is one, but I've forgotten. What else? Also links for my other websites, my other channels, my social medias, Patreon, Spotify, etc. Become a member and you get early access videos and exclusive videos and what is it, emojis in the chat and stuff like that. And who Snorter Poopers Cubers in saying, how are humans and other critters? Hello, Snorter Poopers. And Wing Grace is here saying, I saw the sign, shouting it from the rooftops. I saw the sign. Which is what this film is all about, signs of various sorts of signs. But anyway, a great, as I said, a great film. I love this film. I won't do it justice. I genuinely won't do it justice. It could be maybe it's pushing Sixth Sense close to being my favourite M. Night Shyamalan film because I love Sixth Sense as well. Sixth Sense, not Sixth Sense. Anyway, what else have we done? Is that it? Yes, I think that's it, isn't it? Right. So, as I said, Signs from 2002, written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. What does the M stand for? I've always wondered, never looked it up. Oh, Manoj. Manoj Neliatu, quotes M. Night Shyamalan. There we go. Written and directed by him. And produced by him as well. Also produced by Frank Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy. I imagine she were on the phone, sorting out catering, hotel rooms, stuff like that. Stars Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix, Rory Culkin, who is Macaulay Culkin's younger brother. I think he's younger. Yeah, it must be. And a very young Abigail Breslin, who you may know from what's them films, Zombieland films, and a couple of other people. An amazing score from James Newton Howard, kind of spooky, but also the theme, the opening credits. So like doesn't fit the rest of the film, in my opinion. It should be like dark and brooding, but it's bellicose and in your face. But anyway, that's that. It had a budget of $72 million, which seems a bit high. I'm guessing ILM took the brunt of that, and probably Mel Gibson as well. But it had box office of 408.2 million, so it did pretty well. And it did pretty well with critics as well, like 7 out of 10s and stuff like that, which is fine. Box office, at the time of its release, film had the second highest August opening weekend behind Rush Hour 2. I've never seen the Rush Hour film. It must be amazing. And it was the biggest opening weekend of Mel Gibson's career, surpassing Ransom. So there we go. So I think that's about it, isn't it? Yeah, whatever. And right, so here we go. And it's miles better than Disclosure Day, even though I've not watched that all the way through. Right. And Justin's here. He says Signs is very good. It is excellent. It may be my second favourite, UFO based film after Close Encounters. And he's here as well saying, hope we're all doing well. We're all doing well. And Snorter Poopers Cuba says, I shot me a nice deer. All right. And I hung it on the den wall in my house. My neighbour comes over and he says, did you shoot that thing? I said, nope. He ran through the wall and got stuck. Here's your sign. Very good. Snorter Poopers Cuba. Are you related to Josh Temple by any chance? Right. So let's get on with it, shall we? We're not going to watch the film because YouTube would throw a conniption fit and just shut down the stream. So we're going to go through it in a series of stills. I'll try and remember what I have learned from the behind the scenes that's on the Blu-ray. No commentary, unfortunately, but a nice hour-long behind the scenes documentary on there, which is fine, I suppose. I like commentaries. Pardon me. All right, yes. Also, in the description, I've put a link for Signs filming locations. I forgot who did it. Going to the Movies, I think that's the name of the channel. Who visited Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is where most of the film was shot, and they found the filming locations. So that's all very interesting. That's all very. But Snorter Pooper says nope, he's not related to Josh Tim. just curious. Right, so we'll get on with it. Also, links in the description for where you can watch it on YouTube. You can rent to buy it on YouTube, Amazon. There's also a link for Just Watch, which will tell you all the other streaming services. And Justin with a $2 super chat saying, "I was thinking about you and your post." Oh, thank you, Justin. That's very kind of you. Very kind. I did a post in the community section where I was moaning a bit. I was fed up with YouTube, and they've changed the algorithm. Apparently, there's been a few channels complaining about it, to be honest, and not getting as many views. I didn't get a lot to start with, but now I'm getting even fewer, which is annoying, but never mind. Rumble's done the same, by the way. I don't get a lot of views on Rumble either, but now I'm getting fewer views on Rumble. So it must be a worldwide thing. Or maybe I'm just rubby. And Justice says, the movie was shot close to me, about 30 minutes away. Cool. Yes, as I said, it was shot in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, for the most part. Because I think, are all of M. Night Shyamalan's films set in Pennsylvania? A lot of them are, aren't they? Because he's from that area. So he likes to include that in his films. It's like Stephen King with, Maine and all that, because that's where he's from. Right, so we'll get on with it. I shall pop myself over yonder. There I go. Let's get my silly bloody thing up for the copyright thing. There I am, hidden away my little transparency. And we'll add that to the stage. There I am. You can see me. Look, hello. Right, off we go. Let's see if it's going to come on. There we go. Oh, hang on, is it just... there we go. Missed a bit. Are we at the beginning? Yes, we are. There we go. There we go. Not that we want to see all this. Touchstone. Remember Touchstone Pictures? Disney should bring that back, shouldn't they? Genuinely should. And Hollywood Pictures. Make some proper films again, Disney. And I imagine it's Blinding Edge Pictures. Is that M. Night Shyamalan's production company? I'm going to check and see what it says. Yes, it is. Right. Off we go. Right. So, like I said, James Newton Howard's pretty good theme. I must admit, it is a cool theme. It starts off slow, like that. Like you can hear it, never mind. And then it gets all bombastic as it goes on. Like that. Dun, giving it all the beans, and then the movie's pretty quiet for the most part. But like I said, the theme doesn't match the tone of the movie. He wrote the theme, or he maybe even did the whole score. I've seen it somewhere off of M. Night Shyamalan's storyboards, before the film were even shot, apparently. So maybe that explains it. I don't know, but anyway, but it's still a cool theme. And anyway, so let's get through this. Good old Frank Marshall. Bless him. I like Frank Marshall. Not a fan of Kathleen Kennedy. As I said, I don't know. She shagged her way to the top, in my opinion. Right, so we begin in Pennsylvania. Actually in Pennsylvania, in Bucks County. Mostly filmed in Newtown, Pennsylvania, but also in, I forgot the name, is it Morrisville? I think it's Morrisville. Could be wrong. That's there you go, won't it? I've got my little list. Yes, Morrisville. Also Oxford, Pennsylvania, and also in Miami. Does it say? Yeah, it doesn't say. Never mind. One scene actually filmed in Miami, but we'll get to that. And Beardy Brits is here saying hello, Beardy Brits. Go and subscribe to Beardy Brits on his channel for his dad joke of the day. Today's dad joke were pretty good, actually. It was pretty good. Right, so for a change. Right, where were we? Right, so where were we? Oh, right, yes, we're here. As I said, it was filmed in Bucks County, in an actual cornfield, but there were no corn there at the time. They actually grew it in a field owned by Delaware College or something, Delaware County College, something like that. Hang on, where have I got it? Delaware Valley College. I think that's just, they're not in Delaware, they're in Pennsylvania. So anyway, whatever, I don't know. It was like an I think it's an agricultural college or something like that, I think. So they used their land and they built the house that's behind us in this shot and planted the corn, and they used this fast-growing watering method or something to make the corn grow quicker, which the college kind of, took from them and started using it themselves. But anyway, the corn's not there anymore, by the way. But I think they still do grow corn in that field, but I don't think it gets that high. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't think even this tree were there. I think this tree were added as well. But anyway. So anyway, we'll get on with it, shall we? Begin with pulling through the... And then Mel Gibson wakes up in his house. He goes checking on stuff. Turns out his... something's up with his kids. He doesn't know where they are, and he hears them. He hears a scream from outside. So here comes Mel Gibson, who plays Graham Hess, who used to be a priest, and is not anymore. The last 6 months, he's not a priest anymore. Not a priest, a father. I don't know what category of Christian he is. I don't think he's Catholic in this because he were married. Catholic priests don't get married, does he? So it people keep calling him father. So I imagine he's a Protestant priest of some sort. Anywho, where were we? Snort Pooper says Kathleen Kennedy bought the coffee and then wrecked Star Wars. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. But anyway. M. Night was raised in Penn Valley, Pennsylvania. Oxford is 15 minutes from me. There we go. So we're learning all about where Justin lives so we can call round and see him. It just says Delco is what we call it. That we call Delaware College or whatever the hell it was. Right. So where were we? Mel Gibson. Yes. Hang on. We have corn everywhere around us and cities. Ha ha, says Justin. It is the corn state. I don't know. What is Pennsylvania's nickname? Tell us in the chat, Justin. Right. So here he comes. Checks his kids are not there. This is Joaquin Phoenix, who plays Graham's brother, Merrill, who's staying with him or living with them. But he doesn't live with them in the house. He's got his own shack. He's like Kurt Russell in The Thing. He's got his own pad separate to the house. So anyway, he comes out. There's Graham saying, "Where's the kids?" And this is Merrill's shack above the garage with the tractor in. Never actually see him doing any farming in this film. They own a farm. He's got a cornfield. And a tractor. We never see him use it. We never see if they've got anybody working for him either, to help get the crops in or anything. Don't see any animals apart from the dogs. Do they have cows and sheep and chickens? I have no idea. Anyway, so here it comes out. Look, says, "Where are they? Don't know." And then we hear, doing out in the middle of the corn somewhere. Why don't they just bloody... the kids just go back to the house? Because we learned that, they're fine because we've got Dad, I found something in the cornfield. They're just shouting and scaring the parent to death. Is it Delaware County? Oh, right. So it's nothing to do with the state of Delaware. The Keystone State. All right. Fair enough. Because it is the keystone of the United States. The original capital, wasn't it, before Washington, D.C. was Philadelphia. I learned that from The Sixth Sense. Anyway, right. So they go running through the cornfield. M. Night Shyamalan decided on corn, maize, for the crop pattern to appear in, which is what we're going to see in a bit, a crop pattern, rather than wheat, because obviously they've appeared all around the world of crop patterns, crop circles, whatever you want to call them. They call them crop signs in this film, but usually in fields of wheat, which is obviously easily, bent over to create a pattern. We decided we wanted to use corn or maize, which is, massive and harder to bend over without breaking. So that's what he's done here. So there we are. Reminds me, I keep watching it. We keep expecting Merry and Pippin to come running out with a bag full of carrots and stuff, and potatoes that they've half-inched off farmer, whatever the farmer's called. Grout? No, don't sound right. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, they come across little Abigail Breslin, who plays Bo. I don't know if that's her actual name, Bo, B-O, or if it's short for something. I have no idea. The first thing she says to him is, "Are you in my dream too?" Because apparently it's hinted at that little Bo kind of has clairvoyant dreams where she sees the future. So there is an element of that in this film. Also with what happened to Graham's wife 6 months earlier. I'm sure you know the story, because obviously we're spoiling the film, and if you haven't seen the film, go and watch it and come back after this is finished. But his wife was killed 6 months earlier in a motoring accident. She wasn't in a car; she was just hit by a car, and she was killed. And then before she died, she kind of says some prescient things, which sounded like nonsense at the time, but it all comes together at the end of the film. This film doesn't really have a twist, like other M. Night Shyamalan films have. It just has an ending that is kind of set up earlier on in the film. Justin says, "I live near where a lot of battles during the Revolution happened." Very good. I bet we won. Probably not. It was not the first state, probably the most important state, along with Massachusetts. Okie dokie. Crikey, and a super chat from Beady Brits. Thank you very much, Beady Brits. I also saw the post. I have to do more of these posts, won't I? Moaning about YouTube. A snortopupus. I've done it again. Pupus. Snortopupus Cuba. It's the Q that puts me off. The first capital was New York City. Then they moved it to Philadelphia, and then finally to Washington, D.C. So we're getting history lessons and everything. It's cool. And Gavin Unit's in as well. Saying hello to everybody. Right, so where were we? I forgot where we were now. What were I saying? Remind me. Oh, yes. Prescience and setting things up. Right, so she says, "Are you in my dream too?" And then he's saying, "This is not a dream." And then we hear his son. What the hell's his son called? I've bloody forgot. What's his son called? His son's called Rory Culkin. Can't remember his character's name. Morgan, of course, Morgan. He's calling, so they go and find him. And with the dogs were barking, says, "What's the matter?" So they go and find him. There we go. We see the dogs are in the middle of this crop circle, and they're all barking and getting angry, which is another plot point that we're told that because of these crop patterns and stuff, animals in the area are kind of going a bit crazy. But there we go. We pull out on a kind of a shaky, and I imagine it's a helicopter thing because this is before drones, and it starts out a bit shaky. Let's go back a bit. Little wobble. So imagine it's a fella in a helicopter with a camera. But anyway, so there we go. It pulls out. Cool crop pattern in the field. There actually is another crop pattern, which is actually supposed to be this one in another field not far away. If you go watch that signs filming locations video, link in the description, it shows that there was another one that they actually used for filming most when they're inside this crop pattern, this circle. They actually filmed it somewhere else because it was easier to get into than traipsing through all this corn. Anywho, Gavin says, if there's going to be fighting, send the bear in first. Okie dokie. No idea what you're talking about. Sorry, Justin. Justin says, Valley Forge is near me also, which could be a reference to last week's show, Silent Running, couldn't it? Also, York was at a time. York was what? Are you know about capital? Because And meet Snorterpoopus mentioned that. A Snorterpoopus says, I grew up outside of Washington, D.C., quite close to Mount Vernon. That rings a bell, and I can't remember where from. Anyway. Right, so here we go. And then it tells us, here we go. Where is it? There we go. That we're in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which we are for the most part. Right, so anyways, on the phone now to Lee, somebody or other, who is, I think, is the father, or maybe the mother, I don't actually know, of, I forgot his bloody name. I tell you, I can never remember names, can I? Of Lionel Pritchard, who is like a local bother cause, a local teen, I suppose, or maybe he's a bit older, because I see him in the film later. But he thinks they've come over and they've, him and his mates have come over and created that crop pattern. But so he's saying, if it is him, have a word, and he's not in trouble or anything, just don't do it again because you scared me, kids. And then Lee is on the other end of the phone saying they were at the movies. They were at the movies last night, so it can't have been them. So he says, okie dokie, then never mind. We see that the dog, Houdini, they've got two dogs. There's Houdini and Louisa, I think. And Houdini has peed on the kitchen floor. So they think he's ill. He says, I think Houdini's ill. But it's not. He's affected by the aliens, as are some of the others. Apparently, but not Louisa. Maybe it's because Louisa's female. I don't know. But anyway, so take him outside. It says, I'll call Dr. Crawford. And Morgan says, Dr. Crawford is not an animal doctor. He's the regular doctor. It says, well, he'll know what to do. There is a reason why he's not calling the vet, which we'll get to later. Anyway, so he gets some kitchen towels and goes start mopping up. He only gets 2 out. I'd have loads. If I were mopping up dog pee off the kitchen floor, I'd have a huge wad. Actually, I'd have a mop and a bloody bucket. That's what I'd have. I won't just be mopping it up. Why has he got an oven glove on, by the way? Does he have it on the whole time? Let me go back. When he's on the phone and everything. Does it show us? It doesn't show us, does it? But he's got an oven glove on. Come on, I'm just seeing. Yeah, and I don't know why. Maybe he's just done breakfast. I don't know. But it doesn't explain why he's got an oven glove on. But anyway, then he looks around. Then there's the police officer, Caroline, whatever she's called. And she's arrived. Because obviously he phoned her up and he says, oh, you've arrived 2 hours. I only phoned you 2 hours ago. But she's busy. She's busy as Caroline. And I can never watch this film without thinking of, is it Scary Movie 3? Is it 3 or 4 that kind of takes the mickey out of this film, where the hat's getting bigger all the time? Every time it shows her, the hat's a bit bigger. I always think of that. By the way, he's still got the dripping kitchen towel in his hand here, and he just puts it in the bin. And I think there is where he puts it in the bin. Hang on. You don't really get a sense. Look, I'm guessing the bin's there because he just looks, doesn't he? Don't wash his hands or anything, Loads of dog pee all over his hands, but never mind. Snorterpooper says, Mount Vernon was George Washington's home. That's where I've heard it from. I know I've heard of it. He was another ungrateful rebel. Yes, he was. And British. Anyway. Justin, yes, the first official capital debate, New York, Philadelphia, or York. That is a US. York is in Yorkshire. New York isn't. Justin says, rebels, yes. Anyway, whatever. You'll be begging to come back into the empire before very long. When I get into power. Dear. So anyway, apparently, things problems of a small town and all that stuff. She's on about that. So they're going to go out and look at the crop pattern. Meanwhile, hang on, go back again. There we go. Meanwhile, Morgan's they've set up a barbecue. Maybe that's why he had the oven glove on, setting up the barbecue. And we see he's got, there we go, a big barbecue fork. So this is Chekhov's barbecue. There's a lot of setup and payoff. They show us things that get used, either almost immediately or a bit later on. But we see they're having a barbecue. There we see. I don't know if that's Louisa. I think it's Louisa. And we see that Houdini's there. And Bo's giving him some water. Bo's thing, as well as being psychic, it seems, in this film, is she's always leaving water around. If a glass of water is left for more than a minute, she thinks it's contaminated or got dust in it or whatever. And that's another one of the setup and payoff things in the film. But anyway, I'm guessing this dog that we see in the foreground here, I mean, around the ear, it kind of looks a bit weird. I'm guessing this is superimposed because of what happens in a minute. But anyway, it says the water's fine, give it to him. And as she, there we go, as she pushes the bowl, the dog kind of barks and snarls at him. So that's why I'm thinking it's probably superimposed, because they wouldn't allow a couple of kids to be that close to a snarling dog, would they? No matter how well trained it is. So I'm guessing the film probably filmed the dog in front of a green screen. I'm guessing. I could be wrong. I don't know, but it looks like it to me. But yeah, so Houdini's kind of freaking out. Meanwhile, Graham's in the field with Caroline, who is the sheriff or whatever. And she doesn't understand what's happening. She keeps calling him father, and then he says, "Stop calling me father." And this is where she mentions that she'd been at another farm as well, and that he says, "Why are we at this other farm?" And she says, "Because some of his animals have been acting up." And she says she's had lots of reports of animals acting up, sometimes violently. So that's the first clue about what's going to happen. What's happened now? Anyway, he gets up. He says, "I can't hear my children." Not that we could before, but never mind. So he goes. There we go. So he goes heading back, and we see that Morgan's squatting next to a dead Houdini with the barbecue fork stuck in him. So apparently Houdini tried to get Bo. So Morgan, obviously it must. Well, he says he jumped at me, fell on me. That's what Morgan says, that so essentially fell on the fork and all that. He wanted to kill Bo. So I don't know what to do with the dog. Does she take it away? I don't know. Or do they just bury it somewhere? Or I have no idea. We never hear of Houdini again or see what they do to him. Justin says, we do barbecue like that. Cool. I don't. I haven't got a barbecue. I don't think we have. Might be one in the back garden somewhere. An old metal one that's probably all rusted. But it's been barbecue weather, I must admit, this year in this country. Anyway. But my son doesn't like barbecue stuff, so I've just been doing it all for myself. So anyway. Right, so yeah, so the dog's dead now, or one of the dogs is dead. Out comes Merrill. Saying, "Where were you?" I don't know, we were getting the things from in the house, because it must have all happened really quickly. Look, the other dog's fine. It says, "Make sure." Oh, it says the name of the dog. I think it's Louisa. Isabel. Where'd they get Louisa from? I have no idea. Isabel and Louisa. Isabel. Whatever. The other dog's called Isabel. Tie her up to the back of the shed. And Isabel doesn't fare well in this film. Neither of the dogs do. We don't really find out what happens to Isabel, but we're given a clue later on. We hear what might happen to her. Anyway, right. So passage of time. I'm just going to see if is that something on the roof, or is it a star? I'm going to see if it moved. No, it didn't do it. Right. So there we go. He's in bed again. He wakes up, sees that. Hang on, where are we? That she's there looking at him. "There's a monster outside my room. Can I have a glass of water?" Justin says, "PA kids are tough." See how I knew the abbreviation for Pennsylvania. So he takes her back to her room. He's asking, I think, is it? Oh no, it's later on when he asks her about the water. And he says to her, "This bit got to me. A few times in this film, it gets to me. So if I burst out crying, you know what I'm like. But this bit got to me, where he says, "What are you thinking about?" To her, he sits on the bed with her and says, "What you thinking about?" She says, "Why do you talk to Mom when you think we're not looking?" And he says, "It makes me feel better." And she says, "Does she ever reply to you, or does she ever answer, or something like that?" And he says, "No." And she goes, "Me neither." And I'm like, "Ah!" Anyway. And then he looks up, he glances up, and then we see they get his first look at the aliens. Dun, 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 there it is. Stood on the barn, glaring at them. I'm wondering if there's just one alien in this film. In this town. I don't know. It suggested that there's loads of them, obviously, but we only ever see one in this town. So I'm guessing, is this that one? I don't know. It's just like one alien for each town. I have no idea. But Josh Temple's here, harpoon at the ready to get these pesky aliens. That is just apparently is a raiding party or something. I don't know, but all around the world. Anyway, he sees the alien watching, looking. So he gets Meryl up, and he says, "So he thinks that, is Lionel Pritchard and the Wolfington brothers." Like, what? Nothing like them. Anyway. So he's saying, "We'll run round and we'll scare them and shout and curse." And he says, "I can't curse." He says, "Well, whatever, just make lots of noise." So off they go. But just make noises then. Then the outside light comes on. So there's obviously somebody there, isn't there? So they go running round. "I'm insane with anger." He plays a really good part in this. There's Mel Gibson, I must admit. But, it's Mel Gibson is amazing, isn't he? And Meryl's obviously swearing and cursing because he's not a priest or former vicar, reverend, whatever the hell he is. But he does curse. "Look, it's time for an ass whooping," he says. And they come round. There's nobody there. They haven't found anybody. And he goes, "I cursed." And he goes, "I heard." There you go. But then suddenly they hear something scrambling up on the roof. So they look up. And, "What's going on?" And then something leaps over them and goes scurrying off. They go past the swing and off into the cornfield that they've not seen. So like, what the heck's going on? So next morning, the phone up. Caroline, she comes back in again. Oh, yes, I forgot to mention. I said they built this house for this film and then tore it down after filming. And I think they planted this tree as well. I'm guessing they did. Or it's a fake tree. I don't know. It's not there now anyway. I don't think it is. If you do what's the filming locations video, I don't think that tree's there anymore. Wish it into the cornfield. Okay. What's that a reference to? I don't know. Field of Dreams? I have no idea. But yeah, they based it on like a Victorian design. So it's supposed to be an old house, which is fitting for what happens later on in the cellar. But yeah, that's it. We're built just for this film and then torn down afterwards. Anyway, we learned that he wants a walkie-talkie. There's Morgan. And she says, "Well, have you got an old baby monitor?" He says, "Well, there's one from when Bo were a baby." So I says, "We can use that as a walkie-talkie." So that becomes a plot point in the film. Is it from the Twilight Zone? All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Obviously, one I've not seen. I've not seen all of the Twilight Zones, I must admit. I've seen all of the Outer Limits, the originals, but not Twilight Zone. Anyway. So this is where she tells him, you can use an old baby monitor as a walkie-talkie. Anyway. Bo's watching Dexter's Lab. Used to love watching Dexter's Lab. And this is where he's asking about the water. You see, she's always leaving half-empty glasses of water up and down the house because she thinks they're either contaminated or they've got dust in or whatever, or amoebas. So he's asking her about it. There's a hair in one of them. Anyway. Yeah, here we learn that Meryl works at a gas station. We never see him at work. We never see the kids at school. But anyway. And she says it's nice that you're living with your brother now. And he says, "Well, I don't think I'm helping." He says, "Well, yeah, you are." See more glasses of water look up and down the house. It gets paid off later. I'm assuming it moves them and tidies them up, but more just keep appearing. I just get rid of all the glasses, to be honest. Put the glasses in somewhere where she can't get to them. Just have one. Anyway. Right, so they're trying to describe to Caroline. What's the full name, by the way? Does it say? Does it say? Caroline Paskey, Officer Paskey, played by Cherry Jones, who's got one of those faces. I've seen her in things. What have I seen her in? Let's have a look. Apparently, she was in The Village, but I've only seen that once, so I don't really remember. Oh, The Perfect Storm, Ocean's 12, which I've not seen. What else? Oh, she's been in The Handmaid's Tale. Again, that's I've never seen. But she has got one of those faces. Black Mirror she were in. 24, she'd been in that. Yeah, whatever. Been in lots of stuff, but not much what I've seen. Justin says the house does look like some of the old houses around here. Yes, but I think they looked at local designs and stuff, which is why they went for that one. Anyway, so they're trying to describe to her what happened, and they say, well, very dark. They didn't really see, who it was or how tall they were. But he did, didn't he? So he was on top of the barn. You got a pretty good look. He could have estimated roughly how tall that was. It was pretty tall, wasn't it? And he does say it was quite tall, but he doesn't exactly know how tall. He says it wasn't a midget. This was obviously made in the times when you could use the word midget. But anyway, there we go. But they don't really get very far. They can't really explain. And she's saying, you don't know if it were a man or a woman. And he's saying, it wasn't a woman because they jumped up onto the roof and all that stuff. And she's on about, then she goes on about Scandinavian Olympians. But anyway. So, we learned that a strange woman's been in town. So, was it a strange woman that were in town that couldn't get her favourite cigarettes? I don't know. But as I said, problems of a small town. But anyway. So, she's asking, is anybody that might want to, have a vendetta against you, maybe because you left the church and all that? And he says, no, I don't think so. But anyway, so they don't know. Oh, yes, she comes in, does, where are we? There's Bo, and said that the TV's gone weird and it's the same thing on every channel. So they go in and look, and it's just the new. This one, why would this be breaking, news on every channel? There's some crop circles have appeared. Crop circles appear all the time, don't they? But anyway, Justin says, The Village, so much potential. Yeah, I've only seen it once. And it was all right, but I've never felt the urge to watch it again. But anyway. So here we see one in Bangalore, India, and all that stuff. So yeah. So talking about for some reason they're just in India. I don't know why it's on rolling news on all the channels. I have no idea why. But anyway, there we go. It's for real. Oh, right. So we also see that Morgan has got asthma and he's got an inhaler, which is a critical plot point by the end of the film. Anyway, what in God's name is going on? Oh, and this version now describes how crop circles have been made by hoaxers, such as, is it Doug and Dave? Can't remember the names of them. When crop circles started appearing in the UK in like the mid-80s, two blokes appeared out of nowhere. I think it was Doug and Dave, something like that, saying that they made them using ropes and boards. They planned it all out, on paper or whatever. Then use ropes and boards to press down the crops, and they demonstrated that they could do a crop circle in the dark, overnight, a crop pattern. But a lot of people have said, some of them are so intricate it would take days and days to create them, and they appear overnight, sometimes in just a few minutes. I don't know. I'm agnostic to crop circles, crop patterns. It's a weird phenomenon, but I'm not 100% certain it's aliens or supernatural. I don't know what it is. It probably is just people clever people creating the patterns, because some of them are really, really complex, aren't they? But I don't know. So she's suggesting that. But anyway, I don't think you could, not in a maize field. I don't think you could press down, maize corn with boards and ropes and stuff. But anyway. Justin says, glad you liked it. I was mad. I wasted money on it. Dear. Well, I wouldn't say, not the most amazing film. I was disappointed a bit with it, by the end and the twist and all that. But, I thought it was okay, I don't go. As I said, I've only seen it once. Right, so anyway, she's going to make some calls. Not that it does any good. Oh, my. She tells him, take the family into town and just forget about it and have some fun and all that stuff. So we're going to see him go into town in a minute. There we are. They're in the car, heading into town. Here they are. And this isn't in Newtown. I think this is Morrisville, or I can't remember. Or maybe it's Oxford. I've forgotten. It tells us in that YouTube video that is got a link in the description for this shot. But this is in Newtown. Those aren't there anymore, the parking meters. If they were there at all, maybe the props, I don't know. Anyway, so the kids are going off one direction, Mel's going off in another, and Graham's heading off doing what he wants to do. So they're going to have fun in town. Graham's going to pick up Morgan's prescription from the pharmacy, or as we call it round here, the chemist. Anywho, so he's gone to the bookshop with Bo as Morgan, and another face that I've seen in other things, but I can't be bothered looking him up. This was filmed in an actual bookshop. So there we go. Which pretty much looks the same today as it did back then. Particularly the books writing on the window is still there. But anyway, so he's asking for books about extraterrestrials. By the way, he's grumbling. He's watching the TV because they're still on about it, the crop patterns and stuff. And he's been counting the number of soda commercials that have been appearing during this event. So he thinks everybody's just trying to sell sodas. And there is, I don't know if they show it they must show it in the film, a soda commercial that looks like a Coca-Cola commercial, but it's not. It's just a random soda commercial. They actually filmed for this film in a field near where they filmed Ray Reddy's house, who is the fella that ran over Graham's wife. Anyway, Justin says, on a happy note, got tickets to see Transformers the movie from 86, the proper one, 40th anniversary. Cool. I've got that on VHS somewhere, and I've got the album. I've got the soundtrack album. And I'm not into Transformers, but I liked it probably because of the music. But anyway, I think this new version has got this 40th anniversary version. I'm sure I've seen somewhere that it's got a different ending, or they've tacked something onto the end that I don't know what it is. I'm guessing it's spoilers. I'm not going to say. Somebody comes back, probably. I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so there we go. She tells him where to go. Meanwhile, Graham's in the pharmacy, which is a real pharmacy. I don't think this one is in Newtown. I think this is in Morrisville. I think. Can't remember. But it is an actual pharmacy. And the film put that sign up there, and apparently it's still there to this day. So there we go. Some asthma medicine. And me. Like everybody else, she's calling him father. But anyway, she's basically doing a confession, but I don't think he's a Catholic priest. Anyway, but so she's confiding in him a little bit, saying she's scared about what's going on. Meryl's gone to the army recruitment place for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. I don't think he wants to join the army. He seems quite happy with his brother It seems to be anyway. Although it does seem to have a lot of pent up, I don't know, something. There's something about Merrill. They could have done another film about him being a serial killer or something. There's something about, I mean, maybe it's just Joaquin Phoenix in general. It looks like he could, turn around and kill you to death without a second thought, doesn't it? But anyway. Why can't you just call it a pharmacy? They don't make the stuff anymore, like the old days. Just joking. It's a chemist. So we call him the chemist over here. Anyway. The old days, it'd have been the apothecary, wouldn't it? Get some leeches from the apothecary. This is now this army recruitment station. I think this, I don't know where this is. If this is in Newtown or somewhere else, but this is still there. But it's now an office building, and but still got these same windows and the same roof. But the layout has changed inside, but still stuff that's the same. But anyway, so this sergeant, what is it? Sergeant Cunningham is saying all about what these aliens are up to. They're saying they're probing, trying to find out our weaknesses and stuff like that. And they're waiting for the rest of them to come. And but then he recognizes Merrill, and he says, "Hang on, didn't you used to play baseball?" And there you go. And he says, "Oh, yeah, Merrill Hess. You've got loads of records and stuff for, distances hit." I don't know anything about baseball. I don't know. You've got to hit it between the white lines and I don't know, whatever. But he should have gone into the big leagues, but he never did, because apparently he's got the record for the most strikeouts or whatever. There you go. That's Lionel Pritchard. Is he signing up to join the army? Don't know. But anyway. So anyway, there you go. Says it felt wrong not to swing, and that's the big thing for Merrill in this film. He's got to swing and swing away. Anyway, Justin says there's something after the movie. I think they're going to do an X-Men 97 type series. All right. Is it going to be like a preview of the series? Wingray says, I was halfway through typewriting Apothecary. Very good. I think the first time I came across the word apothecary was in a Queen song. The Fairy Fella's Master Stroke, and there's a line in it. I can't remember what it is now, off the top of my head. Used to know it off by heart. I'm trying to remember. I won't sing it. It's a weird song anyway. It's about a painting, The Fairy Fella's Master Stroke. It's about a painting by Richard Dad. Don't sound right. Something Dad. That's got fairies and stuff in it, and elves and pixies and stuff. And it is describing it. It's a Freddie Mercury song, and he's describing it. Anyway, whatever. Mab is the queen, and there's a good apothecary man. That's it. That's the line. Where I first heard the word apothecary. Richard says, you're right, Phoenix does seem strange at times. Okay. Oh my, yes. Joaquin Phoenix, yes. Sorry, I thought about the town in Arizona. Yes, Joaquin Phoenix. Yes, he's great. I like Joaquin Phoenix. But he does have an air of mystery about him, isn't there? But anyway. Right, so there you go. She's drinking water. She says there's something wrong with it, and she's going, Fred or whatever his name is, there's something wrong with our water. And Morgan says there's nothing wrong with your water. But he's got a book. Does he buy it or borrow it? I don't know. I'm guessing he buys it. Don't know how much it was, but anyway. So here he is. He's still in the pharmacy with her. Telling about cursing and stuff. But anyway, right. So they've gone for pizza now. And he says, I don't want you talking to her from the chemist anymore. Right. So, and they look round and they look out. And she says, oh, is that him? Because they sees his dad looking. There goes, is that him? And we get a look. She's no idea what's going on. She's too young to really understand. Is he going to show him, for God's sake? There we go. He looks round, and it's M. Night Shyamalan as Ray Reddy, who is the local vet. That's why he didn't want to phone the vet about the dog. And it's Ray that killed Graham's wife, Colleen, 6 months earlier in an accident, a genuine accident. He obviously didn't get done for it, I imagine. But he fell asleep at the wheel. We find that out later. He fell asleep at the wheel and basically ran into her. She was out walking and all that. So, and he obviously got away with it because he's not in prison or anything. Or he hadn't had his license revoked or whatever, and he's still practicing. But anyway, there we go. So they're just looking at him. Right, so they're back home now. They're back home, and he's got the baby monitor, and we start hearing weird noises because for some reason that don't understand, it's picking up the aliens' radio transmissions. Is this baby monitor? Don't know why. Apparently, this part of the script, M. Night Shyamalan said he just thought this one would just get excised. Whenever you write a script, you always got to lose parts of it, and he thought this part of the script would get taken out in the edit and stuff like that, and he was surprised it didn't, to be completely honest. But anyway, that is the room of Transformers 87. Okie dokie. You get the touch, you get the power, Bush. Anyway. So we start hearing the noise. What if it's catching the signal from something? We start hearing this noise. A bit like in Disclosure Day, when Emily Blunt starts going, giving it all that noise. It's a bit like that. I think it's supposed to be like insect-like clicking and stuff like that. It's supposed to be the aliens talking over the same frequency as the baby monitor. But anyway, whatever. But he ends up climbing onto the roof of the car because they can hear the signal, and he ends up climbing on. There we go. And then do we hear it?
There's two of them talking.
It's Emily Blunt talking. But anyway, so there we go. That we hear the aliens now through the magic of the baby monitor. Anyway, never mind. Some people, criticize this film for stuff like that, and also about the aliens in general and their weakness. But I don't really mind it so much. It's just the film is so well made. I forget about it. Forget about the little niggles. Right, so going out to give Isabel, not Louisa, Isabel her food, and then he hears a noise. I think Isabel's barking at the corn. Maybe he hears a noise, I don't know, but he's saying to Isabel, when we find out there's nothing there, you're going to feel very foolish. But look, she's very cross. But he's going to go and check it out. He gets a torch and he heads out. And this is where I get another glimpse, another one of the not really a jump scare, but it's a nice little creepy moment where he goes heading out into the corn. I always thought I had like a Mandela effect there. I thought we saw one of the aliens in the corn before we saw, the reveal hidden in the stalks. There he goes in the. Is in the circle again, which I think this one is the one that's in another field from what we saw earlier. Just for the ease of access, basically. We're closer to the road and stuff. Anyway, so there goes saying, because he's not thinking it's aliens, I don't think. Or maybe he thinks about it in the back of his mind, but he's still thinking it's somebody messing about. So he's just shouting and saying, I'm not going to report this, or, you're not going to get famous because of this hoax and all that stuff. But I think we hear the noises again, the clicking. So he heads into the corn again, and he hears it right by his ear. and he whips around. I don't know. He drops his torch. That's it. Flashlight. Sorry, not his torch. And do we see one? I'm trying to work out if we can see one here in the corner anywhere. I can't see anything. Can you? Have a look. Can you see anything looking at him? Are there any weird faces? I can't see anything. But is the one in there? Because I think we hear it again. Anyway, picks his torch up. Oh, there we go. He picks his torch up. We'll go through this a frame at a time. This will get us as first jump scare, I suppose you could say, as he shines his torch around. We see a leg as it turns and heads into the corn, which were just a leg, you know, like a prosthetic leg that just somebody held. But yeah, off it goes. So he's like, oh my goodness. So he goes running out back home. And he's still thinking about enlisting, look, is Merrill. Right, so so now he's seen something. He knows what's going on. Oh, he doesn't. He knows that something weird is happening. So, and it's not Lionel Pritchard and the Wolfington brothers. And Fanchid is here, running behind, listening now. Thank you, Fanchid. Thank you very, very much. Go and follow Fanchid's YouTube channel and follow them on X as Wheels of the System. Justin says it's kind of like a children's story. Kind of always liked M. Night for that. He kind of does these, I don't know, like parables, I suppose you could say. You know, there's always a bit of a message about hope and faith and stuff like that in his stories. You do see at one scene catch a glimpse of the legs, which we've just seen. Yes, we've just seen that of the leg. And Fancy says thanks. No worries. No worries. Right, so there we go. Let's turn on the TV, because he says, we're not watching the TV or listening to the radio in the car because it's just all about these crop patterns that are appearing all over. So they put, we're on about the lights now. We've moved on from crop patterns now. We're seeing lights in the sky over Mexico City, these ones, but they start appearing over other cities as well. It's very Independence Day. Kind of like Independence Day, but from the viewpoint of one family. And without the exploding Empire State Building. But anyway, here we see lights have appeared over Mexico City. And so they're wondering what's going on. He wants a tape. Morgan wants to get a tape to record it. And he gets Belle's ballet recital, but she won't, not Belle, Bo's ballet recital. He says, no, it's my ballet recital. And he said, no, this is important for history. Your grandchildren one day will want to see this and know that you were there. And Graham says, just get another tape. So he says, okay, Uncle Merrill, I'm using your tape. And he puts in Uncle Merrill's tape. Here we go. Swimsuit special. He's recording over the swimsuit special. Hey. Justin says, bow chicka wow wow. Show me some leg, baby. Ha ha. There was some definition, wasn't there, in that leg? They don't miss leg day, do the aliens, do they? Hey. I'm glad actually that they didn't do a sequel to this, because they kind of left it open-ish, I suppose, to a sequel. I'm glad they didn't bother and just left it as a one and done. Because I think some studio executives, they may have even thought about it, saying, we could do a sequel to this. But thankfully they didn't. Anyway, recording over the swimsuit special. Right, so they're watching that, and yes, Merrill is asking about, he says, why can't you comfort me? Because we're all scared a little bit, or we're all a bit uneasy about what's going on. He said, why can't you comfort me like you used to do, when you were Father Graham? So he does it. He says a little, there you go, says, give me some comfort. So he tells a little story about, there's two kinds of people in the world. When, if something happens, if you come into some money or whatever, or, if something fortunate happens to you, something lucky, like it says there. You know, there's other people that think of it as like a sign or a miracle, and other people just think, you know, it's just luck, just random luck. They see it as a sign, and then the other group think of it as pure luck, you know, and whichever you want to be. And he says, "What are you then, Merrill?" And he says, "Obviously, I'm number one. I'm a miracle man." But he says, "What about you?" He says, "Well, it doesn't really matter." And then he starts getting into, he tells a little story about when he were younger, he were on the couch at a party with Randa McKinney, and he moves in to kiss her. And then he realizes he's got gum in his mouth. So he turns round to take his gum out. And when he turns back, she throws up everywhere. So he's saying, if I hadn't had that gum in my mouth, she'd have thrown up on me and it'd have scarred me for life and all that. So, you know, I'm all for the signs and the miracles and all that stuff. Fate, basically. It was meant to be. I'm doing it in quotes because that is said twice in this film. But anyway, there you go. I may never have recovered. And then he says, those lights are a miracle. So he says, fair enough. They feel comforted. And then he talks about what his wife said to him the night she died. And she said, swing away, which is not exactly true. We find out later what she actually said. But he's like putting it down to she was just saying random things or some memory that were dredged up as her neurons in her brain were firing as she was dying. And she said, swing away, remembering when Merrill played baseball. And, you know, we don't go anywhere. There's no heaven or anything like that. He's lost his faith, by the way. Yes, he's not a father anymore. He's lost his faith because of the loss of his wife. He is Job, essentially. Justin says, this movie was spooky in parts. Yes, it is very spooky in parts. And this was a deep part. Yes, we're learning about how he's lost his faith and he doesn't believe in God anymore. He's a number two guy. It's just luck. But spoilers, he gets his faith back by the end. Then you have a little flashback about when his wife died. Now we're going to pull him over. See, he's still a priest because he's got his dog collar on. Anyway, so they keep getting these little flashbacks. We get a little bit further each time with these flashbacks. It's a bit like that dream in Prince of Darkness where the dream gets a little bit further each time. We see a little bit more of these flashbacks as we get to the end of the film. Anyway, he's fallen asleep on the couch and he wakes up and he sees the TV's not in the room anymore. So he goes to find out what it is. Merrill's put it in the closet. And he says the kids were just watching it all the time. So he's moved it. They were getting obsessed. Anyway, we see that we're back looking at the news over Mexico City. I think the lights have disappeared, but apparently the UFOs, for want of a better word, UAPs, whatever you want to call them, are still there because a bird flew into one and fell down dead. So they're still there. They're just, invisible, which is what M. Night Shyamalan wanted the aliens themselves to be. He wanted them to be invisible, a bit like the Predator, but different. But they couldn't quite get it right. They're on the Blu-ray, the screen tests and stuff of the invisible aliens, and it did kind of look goofy. And I like the way that they went. They're not invisible, but they have kind of like camouflage thing, like chameleons and stuff that match their background, or them fish or whatever that match the background. Octopi, pusses, whatever, they can do it as well, can't they? It's a bit like that sometimes, but not all the time. We'll get to that. But anyway, we've seen that they're still there, but we can't see them. So there we go. And he goes on explaining. He's bogged off by this time as Graham, so he's still explaining, just talking to himself basically about what they think the aliens are doing. Anyway, he's gone to have a shower. And when he comes out, we see that there's the place where there used to be a cross hanging there. Obviously, we were there for a while. Not there anymore. Don't know where it's gone. Maybe he threw it out. Maybe burnt it. I don't know, because it never reappears. Even at the end of the film and everything's lovely and happy again, this cross never reappears. which I thought it would. Maybe that were a bit too obvious. Anyway, I forgot what happens now. Oh, yes, that's it. Yes. He's looking. He's obviously looking out and remembering. Does it look over to his? No, it's later on. We hear Morgan and his sister. You see, they've got tin-foil hats on, which apparently are not tin-foil hats in this film. They're made of that material, but sprayed with chrome paint. I presume to make them more comfortable. I don't know, because I imagine they were sat there for hours. You know what filmmaking is like. Anyway, they're reading his book. And so he's going to join them, and we're going to have a look at some pictures in this book. So he says, who wrote it? And the scientists who have been persecuted for their beliefs. And he goes, all right, you mean they're unemployed? And he says, Dad, you had a turn. Because we learned that it was written by Dr. Bimbo. So anyway. Right, so going to show us the book. Here we go. So I'm going to read it because I'm curious, because I've never paused it. Hey, hang on, I'll get rid of that, and then you can see it as well. There we go. So, for thousands of years, Chinese have looked to the skies for portents of change on Earth. While China is passing through its first millennium, who the hell wrote this? Dr. Bimbo. Using the West Gregorian calendar, the traditional lunar calendar is ushering in the Year of the Dragon, regarded as time of tumultuous change. What? Is this just random words? All of that sort of millennial fear and trepidation fits in so nicely with Chinese cosmology and also the Hollywood propaganda that everybody's been lapping up, said David Rayner, a Chinese culture watcher at Australia National University. I went to scroll then. In Pusalu, a patch of struggling corn and bean farms 30 miles from Beijing, villagers believe cosmic forces were at play on December 11th. Don't tell us what year. As they tell it, an object the size of a person, shimmering with golden light, moved slowly up into the sky from the surrounding mountains. And then we get some more stuff. So, there we go. Then we're going to see an alien. Oh, look, a drawing. Apparently all the drawings in this book were done by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. I'll just check on the trivia page on IMDb. It does say somewhere. If I can bloody find it. I bet I can't find it. Oh, yes, here we go. The artwork in the book about extraterrestrials was done by writer and director M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, Salika Shyamalan. I don't know if that's the same one that were in that film Trap. I don't know what her name was. Maybe it's the same one. Maybe it's a different one. I don't know how many daughters he's got. And I can't remember what she was called. But she was a singer, wasn't she? Anywho, where were we? So that's an alien. It says plate X, or plate 10, whatever. Hang on. I'll move this so I can read it. Frog-eyed reptilian creature said to be 3 feet tall. The tiny man inhabits abductees' bodies, does he? All right. Forcing them to wear pantsuits and eat fast food. So they're not expecting us to read this, are they? Anyway. So that's that one. Let's read the next one, see what it says. Hang on. Is it going to show it all? It's not going to show it all, is it? There we go. Another alien, something, and radiating aura of light, distinguish. I spelled that wrong, haven't they? It says distinguish. This being recorded by Scott Purcell, Bakersfield, California, drawn 1990. That one wasn't funny. Never mind. So carry on. There we go. Plate IIV. That's not even the proper Roman numeral, is it? There's no IIV. There's VII, not IIV. IIV would just be 3, wouldn't it? III, Captain. We come in peace, alien being making peaceful contact with mankind. Artist rendering by Joanna Bush. There we go. Little happy alien. I bring love. Remember that episode of The Simpsons? That had Mulder and Scully in. Oh dear. And then we see a nice, actually, I think, is it a pencil drawing or something in pastels or something? I don't know. It's not a painting, is it? Of a UFO, a flying saucer, blasting a house that just happens to look exactly like their house. And then we see that there's bodies. Hang on, is it going to show it? There we go. Dead bodies. Actually, does it say there? Oh, it's gone too far. Something. Hang on, does it tell us any more? Something, I can't remember. Lands, I don't know, using high energy proton rays to destroy food sources and control the masses. Anyway, that's enough from Dr. Bimbo for now. Can we see on his does it say Dr. Bimbo on there? I can't make it out. So we don't get a good look at it. I should have done a screen grab, shouldn't I? I'll do it now. Sorry, I'll do it now. Do it now. See if we can make it out. There we go. We'll just grab that. There we go. Just bear with me. I'll see if I can blow this up. Because it doesn't say, it does say Bimbo, but it's actually spelled differently than what's in the subtitles. Actually, the subtitles on this are different to the subtitles on the Blu-ray. On the Blu-ray, they're spelled properly. It's Bimbo with double O, not U. And it does say Dr. But I can't read what it says. It's too blurry, but I can make out Bimbo. But there's another one as well. There's somebody else that wrote. Dr. M. Does say Night Shyamalan. But can't make it out. Oh, no, just say Bimbo. Or maybe there's two Bimbos and they're related. But I can't. It's too blurry. Never mind. Where were we? So it's enough from Dr. Bimbo for now, he says. Right. Get that back. And we shall continue. Right, so, the phone rings. Here we go, the phone rings, so he answers the phone. We just hear somebody at the other end of the phone say, "Father," and then nobody says anything. And then he has a thought. There we go, this is Graham. And he looks over at the spare room and he sees one of his wife's dresses. She must have made her own dresses. And there is a deleted scene that shows, I think, shows her wearing, well, I imagine a dress like that, not that one because it isn't finished, is it? But a dress like that. And it shows them dancing, in the room, and being all in love. But so that's a deleted scene, and not in the film, I don't think. Anyway, so he says to Merrill, "I'm going out. I won't be long." And he says, "Where are you going?" He says, "I'm going to Ray Reddy's. I think he's just tried phoning me." Says, "Okay." Meanwhile, Morgan's checking out the skies for UFOs. There we go. He's looking. Obviously, we can't see anything through his telescope, and she's having one of her psychic moments. Is Bo, because she says, "Will everything be all right?" And he says, "I won't let anything happen to you." And she says, "Do you think something bad's going to happen?" And she goes, "Yes." Because he said, "Are you having one of your thoughts or whatever?" He says, "Is it bad?" And she says, "Yes." He nods like that. And says, I don't want you to die." And he says, "Who says I'm going to die?" It's obviously she says he's going to die because he nearly does at the end of the film, as we will see. But there we go. Right, so Graham's arrived at Ray Reddy's house. He's got a veterinarian look. Doctor of veterinary medicine. This isn't in Newtown. This is somewhere else. I can't remember where. The shot where they went to another town where they did the overhead shot, that was like, a long way from Newtown, like 2 hours away or whatever. This is like a bit closer. I think it said like 25 minutes or whatever away. But and also in the field behind is where they shot the soda commercial that we see at some point in the film, without permission from the farmer, and they came running out and played pop with them, and because they didn't get permission, so they paid him $500, and he were happy then. Justin says, popular internet theory is that the aliens are not aliens, but demons. Yes, a lot of people think that, don't they? What's this? Is it your Secretary of War? Is it him? I can't remember his name. He thinks the demons or something, doesn't he? I think they're all of the above. It's a very complex subject, is ufology. So I think there's a lot of different avenues. But anyway. Right, so he's arrived at Ray Reddy's house. He doesn't look like a Ray Reddy, does he? M. Night Shyamalan. I'm just saying. Because obviously, he's of in Indian or somewhere in that area, descent into. Right, so here he is at Ray Reddy's house, and by the way, the interiors of the houses, they built these. They built the house, the Hess house. They built that. They didn't build Ray Reddy's house. That's somebody's house. But the interiors of Ray Reddy's house and the Hess house were actually shot in a studio that used a building in town that were like a factory or something like that are closed down, and they renovated that and used that as a studio and built the interiors in there. Anyway, but he's not in. He's Ray. So he's looking round. He says, "Where there's been some sort of commotion inside." Anyway, he looks round and sees, Ray's car's there, and Ray's sitting in it. Look, he's there. This is the M. Night Shyamalan cameo. He thinks he's bleeding Hitchcock, doesn't he? Anyway. But he gives himself not big roles, but he gives himself, roles with dialogue. Hitchcock used to just appear, didn't he, in his films, in the background or whatever, for a bit of fun. Justin says, I think it is aliens, but kind of makes sense. If water is their weakness, why go to a planet that's 70% water? Well, yeah, but they do say in this film, don't they, that the signs, the crop circles and stuff are appearing in areas not close to water, so that they're concentrating on those areas not near water. But then what about rain? What if it starts raining when they invade? Because they don't seem to have umbrellas. They're not the smartest aliens, it seems, these ones, are they? Even though they have conquered interstellar travel and stuff. But anyway, maybe Earth's the most watery planet they've come across so far. I don't know. Anyway, so he sees Ray. And he says, hello, Ray, are you all right? And we see that Ray's injured, look. He's got blood on his shirt. And we see that he's packed up the back of his car, all packed up as well. And pools and water in homes, yes. You think these aliens would be easy to defeat, wouldn't you? Because, spoilers, their weakness is water. It's like acid to them, is water. So you just think, just water cannon on them, or just everybody gets the hose pipes out and just sprays water at them. Just turn the sprinklers on. Sorted. Anyway, so he's talking to Ray. There's Ray, M. Night Shyamalan, and he says, he wrote your number down, left it next to the phone to call him. It's been there for 6 months and he hasn't called, and then he's called today for a reason. And then he starts talking about the night of the accident. It had been a long day, and they were driving home, and nobody saw nobody on the road. And he says, if you just fallen asleep any other time, it'd just end up in a ditch with a headache or whatever. But I fell asleep at just at that exact time when Colleen were by the side of the road, and he said it was meant to be. It was that 10 to 15 seconds when I passed her walking. It was like it was meant to be, and that crops up again later on. It's all about fate and faith and destiny and all that stuff. But anyway, so he says, if this is the end this is the end times, I'm screwed, because people who kill reverends' wives aren't exactly ushered into the front line of heaven. And he apologizes to him. Where is it? Oh no, he asks first, where are you going? And he says, I'm going to the lake, because I don't know how he knows this. He says, I don't think they like water. These places marked in crops and such, none of them are really near water. So he's going to go to the lake. Can't be any worse than here. And he says, did you see something, Ray? And this is when he apologises. Look, I know what I did to you and yours. I've made you question your faith, and for that, I'm sorry and all that stuff. And there he goes, he's filling up, and I'm like, oh, seeing grown men cry. But, it's like, it's a little acknowledgement that he forgives him. It was an accident. He didn't do it on purpose and all that stuff. But he's obviously felt guilty for the last 6 months and all that. And then he says, "Don't open my pantry, Father. I've locked one of them in there." So, and then off he goes. He drives off. So there we go. Then we cut to it is the famous scene in the film where Meryl's still watching TV. It was about the kids being obsessed with it, and he's just as bad. Sorry, I'm ignoring the chat. Sorry, Wingrace. Deploy the fire department. Exactly. I said, just turn water cannon on them, and that'll be the end of it. Yes, get the super soakers. And Fanchid says, love the water effect discovery part for hope. Okie dokie. Anyway, I'm not entirely sure what you're trying to say there, Fanchid. Look, I'm going to read it again. I'm probably reading it wrong because I'm an idiot. Love the water effect discovery part for hope. Sorry, you've lost me. Never mind. I am notoriously thick. Beardy Brits will tell you that. Anyway, where were we? Oh, right, this is the scene. Hang on, Justin says, this part freaked me out when we seen that alien at the party, says Justin, spoiling it. Never mind. I don't know why people freak out at this. It's never scared me. And everybody was saying this is one of the scariest scenes in movies. And I thought, why? I don't get it. It's like when people said they used to hide behind the couch and watching Doctor Who with the Daleks. I thought, no, the Daleks aren't scary. They're just things. Anyway, Fancy says, scary aliens, how they were going to combat them. All right, fair enough. I see what you mean. Yes. Anyway, right, so it's this scene where the some kids at a party, which were actually filmed by M. Night Shyamalan on a camcorder. And we see that they're at a party, and the kids are all excited. They've seen something, and they are actually Brazilian kids. These it was filmed in Miami, though, of all places. Don't know why, just was. These are actually Brazilian kids speaking in Brazilian Portuguese, and according to IMDb trivia, they did actually have 2 actual Portuguese adults there who were playing their parents. But they decided not to use them because they were speaking, regular Portuguese. And apparently regular Portuguese and Brazilian Portuguese are very different. Who knew? And people would have noticed, particularly Portuguese and Brazilians. But anyway, it's M. Night Shyamalan holding the camera. And there's move, children, vamonos. Always makes me laugh, that bit. But anyway, and the kid is saying, it's behind the garage or something. That's what he's saying in Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese. And this is where we see the alien. It's there. Look, here it comes. Why doesn't it change colour to that background? I don't know. Because, as I said, they're like chameleons and they change to what the background is, but not all the time. But anyway, never mind. It's is it still green because it were among the leaves? I have no idea. Justin says, it is the music and the setting tension. That is scary, says Justin. All right, fair enough. I don't find it scary. I genuinely don't. And it's good. It's interesting. I just don't find it scary. Anyway, it is cool. If they come running at them going, ah, then they're like, ah. But it didn't. It just walks off. So cool shot. Let's have the rewind and show it again. So these are the aliens and the gas people for some reason that kills them. They've got like a thing in their wrist or whatever, that the spray gas that kills regular people. Anyway, so it goes into Ray Reddy's house. This is not the interior of that house. This is a sound stage. We see there's been a commotion, and there's the pantry door. blocked. So if he thinks it, and then we see somebody moving about inside, we see the shadow of somebody moving about inside. It's obviously not trying hard to get out, is it? But anyway, if you've seen that in real life, would you be scared? Oh, yes, I'd be crapping my pants if I saw it in real life. But it's a film, isn't it? It's not real life, or is it? Anyway, so he's saying, I like his dialogue in this. It's funny. It was come out of there. The police are here. I am with them. I am a police officer. That's how he's talking. It's anyway. Just tell us your name and why you did it, and we'll go easy on you. The others will be taken away in a paddy wagon. So he's like, what is that paddy wagon? So anyway, so he sees this big knife. There we go. Gets this big knife. Looks under the door and looks at the reflection. And I was hoping we'd get like a glimpse of one of the alien, as though it's camouflaged to the background. We do see it in a bit, but I was hoping we'd see something then, or a bit of a hint. Do we? Is that perhaps something? I don't know. Probably not. I'm seeing things that aren't there. Anyway, I think, I'm not seeing anything. He goes to walk out, and then he comes back. Oh, there we go. Comes back, picks up the knife, bends down, and then we see the creature, the alien, sticks its clawed, taloned hand through there. And he grabs it. He dropped the knife. He grabs the knife and chops its fingers off. Hang on, or some of its fingers off. There we go. And if you notice, the pattern on its hand is the same as the pattern of the tiles on the floor. So there we go. But it's chopped a couple of its fingers off, look. And then we hear this guttural scream, and we hear him scream as well. It sends birds. It sends a murmuration of starlings into flight. There we go. By the way, M. Night Shyamalan were inspired, speaking of birds, it was inspired by Hitchcock's The Birds and also Night of the Living Dead, George Romero's Night of the Living Dead, and what else? Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but to a lesser degree. Mostly The Birds and I forgot already what the other one. Night of the Living Dead, because they start out as different, going to different places, but end up essentially being a siege film. End up in the house. That's how those films progress, and that's what happens in this. Justice says, I guess I get more engrossed in the movies. Obviously so. I mean, I hear that from a lot of movie reviewers where they say, I saw such and such in the film, and it took me right out of it. And I don't think I've ever said that, because I don't ever think that, because I always know I'm watching a film. So I've nothing to be taken out of. But I know what they mean. I mean, some things can distract, can't you, in a film. But the movie No One Will Save You is a lot like Signs. It's good. Have I done it? I think I did know No One Will Save You recently, didn't I? I think. Did I? I've watched it recently. I'm sure I did it on Friday Night Appointment with Fear. As good as that film. I'm sure I did it. But yeah, it's similar. It's similar, isn't it? With barely any dialogue. Anyway, the birds take flight. There they are. Look. They're not starlings, are they? Don't know what they are. Maybe ducks. Who knows? So he goes home and he asks about. Meryl's got a tinfoil hat now. And he asks Morgan what else Dr. Bimbo said in his book. And he says they wouldn't use our technology or fight an airborne battle because they'd know that we'd use nukes, and then the planet would be useless to them. So they fight hand to hand, which is kind of what happens, but it doesn't make any sense. And Mel Gibson just said that Graham just said that. He says that. Hang on, I'll find the line. There we go. How could anyone possibly know that information? It's ridiculous. But anyway, and then he says, there's two options. Either we win and they, retreat, but come back with full forces, hundreds, maybe thousands of years later. Obviously, Dr. Bimbo's just making this up. Or they win, take over the world. But and then Meryl's saying, "What book's this?" Because obviously he hasn't seen the book. Anyway, right. So he's saying that I've heard a theory that they don't like places near water, and Morgan says that sounds made up. And they said, "Shut up! So's your bloody silly book by Dr. Bimbo." Anyway, there you go. Sounds made up. So there you go. I saw one of them at Ray Reddy's house, and I had I got the feeling it wanted to harm me. All it did was stick its hand under the door. But anyway, he got that feeling. So he does a vote. They do a vote and says, we either stay at home and ride it out, or we head out and go to the lake. Like Ray Reddy's gone to the lake. We do that. We go near some water, and so they have a vote, and who wants to go and who wants to stay. And Morgan and Meryl vote to stay in the house, and Bo and Graham vote to leave and go to the lake. And Graham says, pardon me, well, we're leaving then because I get 2 votes because I'm acting as a double parent. And anyway, Bo changes her vote, so they decide to stay. So Graham says, "Okay, then we're going to board up every window and door in this house because everybody in America's got enough spare wood lying about." I know they're on a farm to board up the windows and doors. But anyway, some of the things that the board up makes no sense whatsoever. But anyway, we'll get to that. And then Meryl says, or one of them says, "Do you think that'll do any good?" And he says, "Well, it might do because they seem to have trouble with pantry doors." So he's voiced probably what a lot of the audience and I just did as well, that it couldn't get out. Obviously, it does get out of the pantry at some point, but because we see it again later. But we're obviously struggling with it for some reason. But and it's not because they're weak. We see that they can put some force behind, whatever they're doing. But anyway, right. So Meryl's grabbing some stuff. We see that he smokes. He's got a cigarette in his mouth. Look, we see that he smokes. He throws a stone into the corn, but nothing happens, obviously. There we see that the lights are above other cities, over 274 cities. Anyway, it's like War of the Worlds, and there are people are going to, they were flocking to temples, synagogues, and churches, not mosques, apparently. But anyway, so it's like the end of the world. I'm going to get back to the windows. Oh, yes. And then Morgan says because Meryl goes up to him and says, "Are you okay?" Morgan says, "I wish you were my dad." And Meryl obviously plays pop with him, so don't ever say that again. Right, so here we are, boarding up the windows on the inside. And Meryl saying, "We haven't got enough wood." So he says, "Well, we'll just board up the bedroom doors." But anyway, I says, "What about Isabel?" I nearly said Louise. "What about Isabel?" "We'll tie her up in the garage after dinner. Don't they forget about the dog." Don't know, I'm laughing. Right, so he says, what shall we have to eat? Because Meryl says, "We'll make some sandwiches or something." And Graham asks them what they'd like to eat. They can have anything they want. And Bo wants spaghetti. Morgan wants French toast and mashed potatoes. I'm not exactly sure. Is French toast when you cover it in egg and fry it? We call it eggy bread. When I was a kid, French toast, when you just toasted the bread on one side, that was French toast. That's what we called it. He wants eggy bread and mashed potatoes. Meryl wants chicken teriyaki, and he wants a burger with extra bacon. A cheeseburger with extra bacon. So that's what they're going to do. They're basically having whatever they want to eat. And this is the scene that I may start crying. We'll see. I'll try not to. But if it gets to me, there we see they've been doing cooking and stuff. There's a lot of eggs there, isn't there? I don't know where it, but did they have some chicken teriyaki? What are they? I don't even know what chicken teriyaki is. Do they have a packet of it, or is it in the freezer? I have no idea. That's what Meryl's having. And they're all sitting quietly around the table. It's a similar scene, a little bit, to the dinner scene in Close Encounters, isn't it? With the Neary family. There's a dead fly in my potato. That scene. You know, they end up crying in that, don't they? But they go, Bo has a bad feeling. They filmed this scene in, I think, 3 hours. And I think the first take or whatever was of Bo crying, and she had everybody else crying. Said, right, who's going next? And they're like, oh, don't know. How can we beat that? But anyway, so he's saying, no, eat, and he says, I hate you. I says, fair enough. Let's tuck in. And he says, you let Mum die, and all that stuff. So he says, well, and then never, if you're not going to eat it, I'm going to try each of it. And look, they're all crying at kids, and I'm like, oh. So anyway, just some ugly crying as you're eating. We've all done that, haven't we? If you're watching a sad film and you're eating something, you're like, I am anyway. So he starts crying, breaking down, and then I'm breaking down now, and I can feel myself going. So anyway, the whole family comes together, and he grabs hold of Meryl. There we go. The whole family have a little moment, and I'm going. I can feel my lip quivering. But anyway, but then the baby monitor activates. You know, Emily Blunt's on the phone to him. But I'm only laughing so I don't cry. Anyway, right, so there we go. They're carrying on. They're going upstairs now and carrying on, boarding up the windows. And he comes out of this room, right? I don't understand this bit, because you see the door opens inwards, right? And then they just put a couple of boards up there. Hang on, where are we? There we go. Put a board up there, but the door opens inwards. I don't get it. Unless there's super long nail, but I don't know. What difference will that make? I don't know. Not much. Anyway, whatever. Then he tells a little story about how when Bo were born, she was so gorgeous as a baby. Everybody gasped, and she smiled at him and all that stuff. And there we go. They're all having a little precious memory. They go back downstairs to the room, and we can hear them. We can hear the aliens scurrying about outside. And then we hear them at the windows. I think we see one pass by a window at some point. We see one walking there. I think we see one go by the window. There it goes, look. And then they end up by the door. They hear them knocking, well, not knocking, but hear them at the door. They said, right, we're going to head down to the basement. Oh, I think they look up and hear them. They're up in the attic. But before that, he tells him, he says, you know, he remembers when Morgan were born, and his mum, you know, Colleen was ill. She was bleeding a lot, so they took Morgan away before she had a chance to see him. And when they sorted her out, they brought him back. And, you know, she said, hello, Morgan, I've dreamed of you and all that stuff. So they're both crying at each other, and I'm crying, probably eating popcorn and stuff, and giving it all that. And anyway, then they hear a noise upstairs. They said, they're in the attic. And then there's a deleted scene. I don't know why they deleted it, because it was actually a good scene. They're up in the attic, and they've got to block that attic door, which opens downwards, as they do. But they've cut that out because they're just going to the basement now. But there was a scene where Meryl went running upstairs, and he jumped onto a chair or something, whatever, and he was holding the attic door shut, and could hear him trying to get through the aliens. Pretty good, you know, tense scene. And Graham's looking around trying to find something to block it up with, and he ends up dragging a big dresser across the landing, and that's just tall enough so that they can't open the attic door, and it shows them banging the attic door trying to get it open, but they can't. And I don't know why they cut that out. But they should have put that back in as a special edition or something. But that were a good scene. But no, they all sod off down to the basement. Off they go. What's he got in his hand? He had something in his hand there. What's he got in his hand there? Oh no, it's it's Morgan. It's Morgan's hand. Right, so they head down to the basement. One of the kids, I imagine, I don't know who said that. Who says that? We forgot our foil helmets. It's either Morgan or Bo, isn't it? I wonder which one.
Forgot our foil helmets.
Oh, it's him. Morgan says it. Meryl's running about trying to find something to wedge the door shut. Graham says, just, be quiet. You're scaring your sister. She goes, I'm already scared. Anyway. Morgan's saying they'll know our secret thoughts because they were wearing the tinfoil helmets, so the aliens couldn't read their thoughts, even though I don't think they do. But anyway, they're trying to get in. He's got to hold the door shut. And then Meryl finds a big axe. No idea why they don't use this big axe later on. Pardon me. But he finds a big axe. And I said, for me, rather than, because it's got me saying, why don't you use this big axe later on? I'd have used like a chair or something. You could have found a high back chair or something, piled up in the corner, and then pulled it out, and then hit the light bulb, with that, But this axe, it's making, because it's an axe. I'm thinking, why don't they use this axe later on? As if it's a chair, whatever. Anyway, so they use this axe, look, to wedge the door shut so the aliens can't get in, and. So they've got to wait about now. The radio doesn't work. But anyway, they're making noises. They're trying to distract us from somewhere. There must be another way in. And so he says that they used to deliver coal and just, there's a coal, what do they call it? Chute, a coal chute. That they used to, as we'd say in Yorkshire, there's coil oil. That's what we call the coal hole, coil oil. But they've got to find the coal chute. There we go, coal chute. Which they do, and it's another cool scene, another creepy scene with a bit of a jump scare. But they're looking around, they can't find it. But then they do find it. Oh, I've just paused in exactly the right place. They see. Morgan standing there by it, and you can actually see there's the hand of an alien there. Look, and it's camouflaged to match the grill, whatever it is, the metal behind it. And it grabs him. Ah! And obviously, then all the lights go out, which is deliberate. M. Night Shyamalan says he likes, although a lot of films do like showing, he likes to use sounds and all that stuff, and to make us know that something's going on, but we don't have to see it, what's happening. But obviously they've I don't know, hit it with the torches or whatever, and it's retreated back up the coal chute, and now Meryl's blocking it up with whatever's in these sacks. There he is. Dog food. It's dog food. It says there. And he puts a tin of dog food, I imagine, or is it chili? Whatever, a tin of something, just for a bit of extra look. Anyway, so they can't get through the coal chute now because of the dog food. Right, so why did they not know that coal chute were there, by the way? Because obviously they go down that cellar quite often because the dog food's down there, what they feed the dogs with. So they just never noticed it. Anyway, never mind. Yes. Morgan's had an asthma attack and they haven't got his medicine. Because they forgot it. They left it upstairs. Anyway, whatever. So he's going through his the routine to try and help him breathe. But now he has a little argument with God. And I didn't like this bit, actually. It kind of, the wording of it annoyed me because he's saying there, not again. Morgan's there, like, can hardly breathe. And then he just says, I hate you. And I'm thinking, Morgan might be thinking he's saying that to him. But Here we go. There you go. He's actually talking to God. He should say that, shouldn't he? He should say, I hate you, God. So Morgan knows he's not on about him. But there goes they saying hate you and all that stuff. But Meryl's shocked at what he's hearing, and he's gonna have words with his big brother in a bit. But anyway, so I think he's talking to Morgan now, saying, "Don't be afraid. The air is coming. Just breathe," and all that stuff. And so anyway, it settles down, and Meryl says we should save the flashlight. So it all goes into darkness. Then we have another flashback where we're learning that she's been pinned against the tree as Colleen, and basically she's died. They can't move it. She's essentially been cut in half as Colleen, and the top half is somehow still alive. There you go. It's alive when it shouldn't be alive. It. But she's alive when she shouldn't be. But anyway, whatever. And I say she's still talking and stuff, but she's not going to be alive much longer. And then he says, Caroline, it's another bit that sets me off. This is the last time I'm going to talk to my wife. And I'm like, ah. But anyway, so he's going to go and talk to her. They see there's Ray there, obviously feeling not very happy at the moment. Anyway, right, so we're back in the basement. And apparently everything's hunky-dory now. They got the radio working. This is where we're learning what's been happening. Apparently they've been asleep for 12 hours. But he's got the radio working as Meryl. This is where we learn. They poisoned his family. They dragged them away. But then the aliens have gone, apparently. They didn't come here for our planet. That's it. They came for us to harvest us. I think the Y-Files, YouTube channel, I think their latest videos is about aliens coming to eat us. I haven't watched it yet. I haven't got round to it. I've just seen the thumbnail, which is a coincidence, isn't it? Or is there any such thing as a coincidence? There are no. I think that's mentioned in this film. There are no coincidences. Anyway, so the aliens have gone, and apparently they've left their wounded behind. Even if you just had 2 fingers chopped off, you're classed as you're not worthy to leave with them. Anyway, a lot of people died. And I said they've gone and left their wounded behind. So there's still some aliens knocking about. But until he has his words with him, says the things you were saying last night. You're my big brother. You're everything I've always wanted to be. Setting me off again because I think about my big brother. But anyway, whatever. And so he says, I don't want to hear you talking like that again. So it's okay. Anyway, he's okay. He's not okay. He's Morgan. He's obviously not well. He's struggling to breathe, but he's not giving up yet. He needs his medicine. So they're wondering, shall we? Let's see. Telling the aliens have gone. But we need to check to make sure there's no aliens about. So they get the baby monitor, and they have a listen, and there's no sounds of aliens. But they're down in the basement. The only time they could hear them before when they were up on the ground on top of the car with Morgan like that. Whatever. But they don't hear the aliens. So that's good enough for me. So they head upstairs. There we go. They head upstairs. And I'm sure I'm going to say something. I remember watching it and thinking, yes, I was thinking, why don't you take the axe? That's what I'm thinking. I'd have that bloody axe in my hand. Anyway, because it's obviously sturdy, because it was sturdy enough to keep that door shut for 12 hours, wasn't it? But anyway, it doesn't take the axe. We never see the axe again. Right, so they've gone up. There's no sign of any aliens. And I'm going to keep looking in the background because, spoilers, there's an alien here somewhere, but I've never noticed it until we actually see it. And I always wonder, is it there camouflaged and we don't see it? I've never noticed, but as we're going through still frames, maybe we'll see something. I don't think we will, but anyway. So he puts Morgan on the couch, sofa, settee. Why is there so many words for one of these? Couch, sofa, settee. Anyway, whatever. And Bo's put the TV on and she says everybody's dancing and being happy. There we go, the dancing like that. So it's all happy. Apparently, somewhere in the Middle East, they found a way to beat them. I say, just turn hose pipes on them, I imagine. I don't know. But so that's, the human race is victorious. Justin says that part when he's telling him to breathe was heartbreaking. Yes, it was. It was. It is again at the end as well when I'm like, oh, bloody film. Anyway, so they found a way to beat them, and he says to Morgan, do you want to see? So he says, okay, I'll bring the TV out. I meant to look around, see if we can see anything in the background. I'm looking. I'm trying to see if you can see any like figures or anything, but we don't see anything, do we? It's not showing us that other side of the room, is it? So he brings the TV out, and then he pulls it round, and then as he pulls it round, we see there's a reflection. Dun dun dun. Justin says this was Mel. This was when Mel was still loved. Yeah. Now he's kind of disliked. I still like him, but understand why people dislike him. Yes, I say I like Mel Gibson. I think he's great, but I understand why people have fallen out with him because of his views. I mean, I've fallen out with actors and stuff like that because of their views, but I still like them as actors, if you know what I mean. Robert Picardo, for instance, used to be a huge Robert Picardo fan, but because they go on social media and not the big fat mouths, I kind of fall out with them, don't I? Well, I do anyway. But I still like him as an actor when he's not singing. But anyway. Anywho, so there we go. The reflection. There's the alien reflecting in the TV. Press the wrong thing. There we go. In comes Meryl. We still see the alien. I said, "Oh, there's an alien there. Why is it not looking like what's behind it?" That's it. Some things it camouflages to, some things it doesn't, because it shows us now that this is the one that were trapped in the pantry. There we go. We get close to it now, and we see that it's camouflaged as Morgan's shirt. Oh, for Pete's sake! There we go. So we see it's the one that he cut the fingers off. So is it tracked him down, or has it just ended up there? Or is it the same one that we saw at the beginning and the one in the cornfield? Was there just this one in this town? I don't know. But and it's just heading back to the field where the circle was, where its ship were going to be, and it's been left behind. It's like E.T., it's been left behind because it's had its fingers chopped off. Anyway, whatever. But you see that it's camouflaged, but the rest of it isn't for some reason. I don't know why. Because you see, is it? I don't know. I'm trying to look and see if it doesn't seem to be, does it? It's not really giving us a good look. But anyway, and he says, "Swing away, Meryl." Or he says in a minute. I see it's hovering over him with its poison gas thing. Does it do it now? Don't do it yet. Doesn't do it yet. See there, it's threatening to gas him. I mean, it should look like that, shouldn't it? But anyway, whatever. And we're going to get another flashback in a minute. Here we go, another flashback of him talking to his wife as she's dying. And this is where she says, tell Morgan to look after his sister, and tell Bo to do as her brother says. Because he'll always be there to protect her. He said, "Tell Graham to see, and tell Morgan to swing away." She also says it was meant to be as well in this bit. There we go. I was just taking a walk before dinner. It was meant to be, just like Ray Reddy said earlier on. There you go. That's it. It's all about fate and destiny. We can't choose what's going to happen, can we? It's just going to happen, whether we understand it or not. But anyway. I can separate the art from the artist. Most can't. Yeah. But I'm still disappointed sometimes by them. Trouble with social media, isn't it? It's taking the mystery away from Hollywood actors and actresses. They're just regular people. I mean, we all know they're just regular people, even before social media. But it were limited to the gossip columns and stuff like that. There was still that air of mystery about them, wasn't there? And that was our only insight into their psyches. Now they just go on X and Facebook and Blue Sky and all that, telling us all their thoughts. And we thought, we don't want to know. Just tell us what film you're doing or TV shows. We don't want to know your politics or anything like that. Anywho, where were we? Oh, it was meant to be. Anyway, so there goes. Stand back, Morgan. So tell Morgan to play games. It's okay to be silly. Tell Graham to see. And tell Morgan to swing. Meryl to swing away. So is she having like obviously she's moments away from dying. So is she having not only a life flashing before her eyes, but she's having glimpses of the future? Who knows? Who knows as she's passing away? Or maybe she's psychic as well, like Bo. I don't know. But yeah, so that's that. So we also go back and having this conversation with Meryl about the two types of people, the kind that sees signs and miracles, or the kind that just sees just luck. People just get lucky. So now he's essentially getting his faith back, sort of, in a way. It's on its way anyway. And he says, Meryl, swing away. So Meryl, hang on, are we going to see the alien again? Oh, it's not showing us it, is it? $70 million budget. Anyway, and we can see, by the way, where they've been smashing through the windows, the aliens. All the windows are smashed and all the wood's knocked down and stuff. Anyway, swing away. So he grabs the. Oh, there we go. Another look at the alien. Scary looking aliens, aren't they? But again, not really camouflaged, is it? Is it? Is that supposed to be the curtain? That there? Is it that? I don't know. But anyway. Don't know. Or is it just the pattern on its skin? I think it's just the pattern on its skin. So there we go. He grabs his baseball bat. 507 feet. That was the record. 1997. So we're only a few years before. I thought it was from when he was at school or something, high school. But anyway, I don't know how old he's supposed to be. Anyway, sorry, Justin. People have a right to their own views, just like you and me. We can agree to disagree. Yes, we can. Or agree. Yes, we can. But just don't bang on about it. Because that's how it annoys people. Death is not the end. No, it's not, actually. They've proved it. I'm sure there was a thing I saw recently about... what was it now? It was something along those lines that it's I don't know if it's scientifically proved or somebody's had a theory or whatever that when we die, that's not it. Something happens. Maybe we go to another dimension or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, beats up the alien with a baseball bat. Oh, yes. She screams, does Bo, and then we see that it's decided that it's going to camouflage itself as screaming Bo, but nothing else. I don't know why. I don't understand the camouflage on it. As I said, M. Night Shyamalan wanting to be invisible, like the Predator, as though you could see through them. You could see that they were there, but you could see through them. But for some reason, they couldn't get it to work properly. And it did look a bit poo in the test shots that they did. Looked a bit too much like the Predator, which is probably why they didn't bother. Anyway, there we go. So he beats it up with the baseball bat. It drops Morgan, and Graham picks him up, picks up the medicine. Meryl had got the medicine and dropped it when he saw the alien. So they pick that and take him outside, and Morgan's beating up this alien with his baseball bat. They could have just finished it off with that bloody axe, one swing, chopped its head off, but no. using the baseball bat because he's got to swing away and not hack. Anyway, so here we go. He knocks it down. There we go. And this is where the payoff for all the glasses of water up and down because of Bo's psychic weirdness. But anyway, so we see that it gets some, there we go. Probably the clearest look at the alien here, isn't it? Some water, and it's burning it like acid. So it's not having a good day, is this alien, is it? Because he gets 2 fingers chopped off. He gets locked in the pantry. Gets 2 fingers chopped off, and now it's having acid thrown at it. But by the way, it did spray. I forgot to. It didn't land on that bit, did it? It did spray Morgan with its death gas. But remember, he's asthmatic, so that's the big clue. Anyway, there we go. It's melting, so it gets up. So he's going to keep battering it and knocking it up and down, and we get some as they're watching. There we go. We see. Meryl's smashing because there's loads of glasses of water up and down. There we go, smashing it at him. It's like, don't kill me, poor alien. Anyway, so he gives it one last whack that breaks his baseball bat. We learn. There we go, one last swing. Hits it. It falls. We see its point of view. This bit has a reminder. Is it this bit? Where the water's cascading down. Reminded me of the bit from Alien 3 when they turn on the water, in the lead, molten lead thing. Maybe not. Maybe not. Anyway, so it's obviously got a face full of acid, essentially, hasn't it? But we don't see it. It doesn't show it. It's not graphic. But you see, he's broke his baseball bat. Should I use that axe? Tell you. But, and then we see its reflection in the TV, taking its last breath. There you go. Now it's dead. This is that's like from War of the Worlds, isn't it? When the alien hand, the Martian hand comes out, and we see its veins pulsing and then stops because it's dead. That's that, isn't it? Right. So there we go. The aliens are all gone. We see the house has got all the smashed windows. Anyway, so he's got. Where are we? Where is it? Hang on, I haven't done it yet. Graham's got Morgan, and he's given him he's got an epinephrine shot, so he's given him that, and so he's saying, give him a minute. He's saying he's got asthma. There's a reason he had asthma. So it's all about, as I said, faith and destiny and all that stuff. Everything happens for a reason. There's a reason that Bo leaves all the glasses of water. There's a reason he's got asthma because his lungs were closed when the alien sprayed him with its death gas. So it's not gone into his lungs. So, he was protected. Anyway, so I'm crying again in watching this earlier on because they're all crying, and but now he's almost getting ready to shout at God again. He's saying don't, but then Morgan says, "Did someone save me?" He says, "Dad, did someone save me?" And he goes, "Yes, I think somebody did." And he's got his faith back. Yeah, hallelujah, and all that. And then it pulls back from them back into the window. And we see that all the glass is broken in the windows where the aliens got in. And then we're going to have a transition. I'm not sure how they did this because we see the outside there where it's summertime, early autumn or something like that. And then we could go around to the other side. It's winter. By the way, that scene, the film was more or less filmed in chronological order, in the order of the script, which is weird, but because most of it was set in the house. That's how they did. They did all the house stuff first. But this scene at the end, where they're outside with Morgan, waiting for him to come round, were actually filmed before all that. It were filmed earlier on. Because by the end, it was filmed in round about, I think, September, something like that. Let me check. Filming dates, yes, September to November. 2001, and the first filming day were actually September 12th, 2001, which were a heck of a day to start work, wasn't it? They had a vigil. They had like a candlelit vigil on the first day of shooting, and the first day of shooting was the crash site. You know, with Graham's wife and all that. That was the first day of shooting. After September 11th, Justin says that pullback shot was scary. I thought something was going to happen. There's going to be another alien there. Because never know, there might be. But anyway, it pulls back, and then we have a. I don't know if it's just, you know, I can't see a. Obviously, it could be well done. I don't know, but can't see a join, or it could just be CG out there. I don't know. It could be a blue screen out that window. Who knows? But anyway, it's winter now. I can tell it's winter because there's a bloody Christmas tree there. It must be Christmas. Was that there earlier? I don't know. But anyway, we come round and we see Graham comes out of the bathroom. There's obviously a coat of paint or something, or they've washed the wall. I don't know. We can't see that imprint of where the cross used to be. But he hasn't put another one up for some reason. I don't know why. But he comes out. There we go. And we see he's got all his reverend gear on. So he's obviously off back to church. He's back being a reverend again. Everybody can call him father and all that. So there we go. And he heads out, going to do God's work once more. Yay. And that's the end of the film. Amazing film. As I said, I've not done it justice. Definitely not done it justice. That's a great name, isn't it? Second unit director, Brick Mason. That's a proper name, isn't it? He should have a film series of his own with a character called Brick Mason. Special agent. Anyway, Justice says, great movie. It is a really, really good. I'd actually forgotten how good it was. I haven't seen it for years and years and years. I actually just bought this recently, this Blu-ray. I've got it on DVD in the box somewhere. But so I haven't watched it for maybe, I don't know, 10 years maybe. It's been a while since I've watched Signs. And I'd genuinely forgotten how good it was. But yeah. A great film. Go and watch it. There's no end credits scene. Don't worry. But yeah, great film. Really, really love it. I can't recommend it highly enough. Top-notch stuff. And the acting in it is... The kids are amazing in it. Don't see much of Rory Culkin, do it? He pops up every now and again, doesn't it? Is he? I think he's grown up now. He will be, won't he? Because it was bloody... it was 24 years ago. So, yes, he's in his 30s now, isn't he? But, so he could have been in his stuff and I've just never noticed because he's now grown up. But anyway. But, yeah, an amazing film. I wonder what happened to Caroline. I wonder what happened to the town. Did anybody die in town? We never find out, do we? Never find out. I wonder if there's a book, novelization. Do we find out in that? Probably not. Didn't he win an Oscar? I have no idea. Let's have a look. See if it says... it doesn't actually say if it won anything. Let's have a look. Or if it were nominated. Signs. You mean for something else? Excuse me. It won a nomination at the Bram Stoker Awards for Best Screenplay. Or a Golden Globe. I don't know. Let's have a look. Are we on about Rory Culkin now? Let's have a look. Rory Culkin Awards. Has he won anything? Rory Culkin. Where are you? Rory Culkin. Gotham Awards and Film Independent Spirit Awards. The Las Vegas Film Critics Society Awards. They were nominated for Youth in Films for this film. No, well, yeah, it's been nominated in lots of stuff I've never heard of. I've heard of the Tribeca Film Festival. He were nominated in 2020 for a film called Materna. But nothing, nothing like the BAFTAs or the Oscars or anything like that. But anyway, not according to IMDb, anyway. No, nothing I can see. Nothing I can see. No, never mind. Good actor anyway. They're all good in this film. Anywho, right, we'll get rid of that. It says, yeah, top-notch film. As I said, watch it and enjoy it and cry like I do. I'll nearly cry. I get a bit teary-eyed. I'm not like... But anyway, right, so we'll leave it there. We're all done and dusted. You notice the films that I really, really like are the ones that tend to go on longer. So I'm pointing up at the... You can't see it because it's not there. But for me, up in the top corner, there's a timer. We've been going for 2.25 hours. His brother Kieran did that. Is who? Oh, right. Kieran Culkin. Yes. Yes. I can't think what I've seen that name somewhere. And obviously there's Macaulay, isn't there? Who doesn't seem to do much these days, does it? Apart from appearing on stuff like Red Letter Media and places like that. But anyway. Right. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Go and watch Signs. It's a great film. Check the description for where you can watch it online. Right, what's coming up next? What day are we on? Monday. On Wednesday, I don't know what I'm doing. Yet. It'll either be like, top 5 films of 2000 and whatever, we're up to 6, or maybe a new... I don't know. We'll see. I'll think of something. On Friday, we're doing The Collection, aren't we? We did The Collector last Friday. This Friday, for Friday Night Appointment with Fear, we're going to break down and review The Collection, the sequel, again starring Josh Stewart. So that's this Friday. The next Monday, I think... Hang on, I'll have to check. I forgot. I've set up Magnificent Mondays and Friday Night Appointment with Fears for all of August, which is probably a mistake. But anyway, where's my list? Next Monday, see, I'd nearly got it wrong, is Red Dawn from 1984. I think I've picked that because it's the anniversary, I think, of its release. Red Dawn, the first PG-13 movie. That's next Monday. So there we go. It's been a long time since I've watched that film as well. I don't think I've watched it since it actually came out back in the day. Just says, buy the DVD, support physical media. Yes, if you can. Sometimes you can't find them, but like I say, I got that one. So there we go. I do try, and if I haven't got a film, I do try and get them. Can't always get them because sometimes they're just not available, and I'm not paying. Quite often you look on eBay, or there's a website called CEX in the UK where you sell used Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff, and it says some of the prices sometimes are ridiculous. You think, bloody hell. Justice says, also enjoyed your review of The Griffin Incident. Great episode. I really enjoyed it. I'm enjoying this season of Strange New World so far. I think they've both been good episodes. Good, like standalone, exciting Star Trek episodes where I'm not really complaining very much about them. There are some little bits, but never mind. But as we know, James Kirk was never a Boy Scout. That's why it's another universe in my mind. But anyway, that's by the by. Right, so we'll leave it there. We will leave it there. The week after, sorry, I'll just... not next Monday, because that's Red Dawn. The Monday after, we'll be doing Jaws 2. I love this film. I went to see this at the cinema back in 1978. I love this film. Unfairly maligned. Really good film, I think, despite its problems during production. Justin says, very Dead Space, Event Horizon and Doom, but dislike Kirk. Yeah, I don't like. I don't mind him. I don't see him as Kirk. I know he's playing Kirk, but in my mind, I'm not seeing like Captain James T. Kirk, William Shatner. I'm not seeing him, as playing that same character. But yeah, it was a good episode. I did enjoy it. Jaws 2 is very good. Yes, it is. I think it's really good. But anyway, right, so we'll leave it there. I'm going to bugger off now because I'm dying for a wee. Genuinely am. So thanks, Justin, and Beardy Brits for the super chats, and Win Grace and Josh Temple and Fan Cheered. And who else did we have popping? Gavin Unit. And Snorter Poopers Cuba as well. Is that it? I hope I haven't forgot anybody. I think that's it. So thank you for keeping me company while I go on about Signs. Go and watch Signs. It's a great film. If you're not crying by the end, you're not human. But anyway, so we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. I'm trying, while I'm saying this, I'm trying to do like other things. I'm scrolling and stuff. I'm useless at that. Thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.